Assalamu alaikum. Let's cook. People, I want you to listen to this young lady right here. She talks about her brother and something that happened to him and their family. Check it out.
In 2014, my brother was lynched by his white roommates, and his story never got the coverage that it deserves because at that time, our mom had just passed a few months prior, and I was only 12. I was depressed. So now I'm 24, and I've decided to use my voice to tell his story and shed light on an important topic that is going on currently and has been going on for decades in our Black community. And that is how our Black lives are taken from us or changed entirely in unfair and complex ways. We know life is not fair, but goddamn, the way that our Black community is impacted by these ongoing patterns, we need to have conversations about this stuff. My brother, Charles Levon Kane, the way this was just a very important topic for me, and I needed to write about this to heal myself and to feel like I did something in my lifetime. Like if I die tomorrow, I'll feel at peace that I talked about my brother's story and honored him in that way, because it really just, it's so frustrating. I know that the piece is sad and it's dark and like hard to read and hard to feel. It was hard for me to write it. So just know, like, this is people's reality, and like the way that some of us can choose not to read it or choose to ignore this whole concept, other people have no choice but to be confronted with this every day and to live in this reality. Like, I woke up one day and my brother was gone due to racism. I never would have expected that he would be at a college studying and his own roommates would kill him, let alone lynch him. That's my why, okay? If you have the capacity to read it, please do, because
If you go back to the story that was in the news when this happened to her brother in 2014, the newspaper article said this: Nelsonville Police Department press release. The Nelsonville Police Department is saddened to announce the death of a Hockin College student, Charles L. Kane, missing since September 20th, 2014. The Columbus Police Department found a body on September 23rd, 2014, near Lakeshore Drive in Columbus. Columbus detectives believe that subject found is Mr. Kane. Since all unattended deaths are treated as possible homicides until proven otherwise, the Nelsonville Police Department did not want to prematurely release any information that might interfere with the Columbus investigation. Our thoughts and condolences go out to the Kane family. And that's it, people. That's what they put in the paper for this. And I believe every word that she's saying in this video. She was young at the time this happened to her brother. This happens to Black people more than we realize and more than people think. They were going through something in the family. No mother, just lost their mother. I don't know where the father is. Of course, at the time she was 12, she wasn't like she is now, or maybe it would have got some more legs or whatever. Who knows? Then social media was different and everything. But that's what happened. This stuff happens all the time. And this young lady right here, she writes on Substack, okay? And I'm gonna put the link to her Substack in the pinned comment so that you can go read the story or the entry that she wrote about her brother and, you know, things that are going on in white supremacy and everything. You can go check her out. Her name is thefleshout.substack.com. That's thefleshout.substack.com. But check this out. I'm going to read one of her entries right here in reference to what she's talking about right here about her brother. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to read the part from the beginning, you know, that discusses some of her thoughts on her brother's situation. Here it is. My brother was lynched by his white roommates, and the police and the news called it a S. You know we can't say the S word on here. This is a pattern that is not so silently plaguing America. What are our Black lives worth? If you were to judge by the way the system handles cases in which Black people are murdered, you will be led to believe that Black lives aren't worth justice, not worth the truth, and not worth spreading awareness. Well, I'm aware. I'm choosing to use my voice to spread the sad and hard truth. As Toni Morrison said, 60 million and more. That's the amount of enslaved African people and their descendants we can estimate died or were tortured due to the transatlantic slave trade. Although my brother, Charles Levine Kane may never get the justice he deserves. May my outrage and raw emotion allow his spirit to know someone cared. Someone saw the pattern, and that someone was his little sister. My brother Charles was only 21 when he passed away on what was an ordinary Tuesday, the 23rd day of September in 2014. He was studying hospitality at Hocking College in Nelsonville, Ohio. He was in the mid of his last semester of the program when his life was taken from him by the hands of his own white roommates, people he was meant to be able to trust, to share a home with while he got through his college chapter. My brother making it to college was even a feat. He was in and out of juvie as a minor and had behavioral troubles with symptoms similar to what to most commonly known as mental health disorders. I'm not sure if he was truly diagnosed, so I won't comment on those details. However, we can understand that my brother Charles was vulnerable to being roped in with the wrong crowd. At only 15 years old, Charles became a father to my beautiful niece Peyton. It feels surreal whenever I think about the fact that she's going to graduate high school soon enough. I'm so glad that her mother was able to give her a stable environment despite the loss. Peyton's mom nurtures Peyton and her siblings that came after Charles' passing. I pray Peyton can make it through college if she wants to go. My brother and I would get on the phone weekly, and if not weekly, then every 2 weeks. So when we didn't talk for over 3 weeks, I knew something was off. Our mother passed away in May of 2014. I was 12 years old when my world turned on its head. So months later, in September, when I hadn't heard from my brother, I knew something was off. My dad learned from his mistake of just blurting out, "She's dead," when informing me of my mother's passing in the hospital. This time, he eased me into the news. Charles has been missing for a few weeks. Don't let a black person come up missing. Lord, we already know what that's leading to. My brother had 3 white roommates. To be frank, my brother was probably wrapped up in some less than legal business with them. When my brother's phone was found, one of the last texts he received was from one of his roommates. That text asked my brother to come to the very same park where they found his body hanging from a tree. Columbus police found my brother's body on September 23rd. The news reported the occurrence as a S, the S word. I truly believe that his roommates knew that they can get away with murder, especially since my brother and I lost our mother months prior. I believe that they thought the story of S would be a fitting scapegoat. Eventually, they proceeded to change the news reports online to convey that detectives are looking into the death and that all unattended deaths are treated as possible homicides until another determination is made. And the rest of my rage about the occurrence is complex. The white man offered my brother's baby mother a large lump sum to settle the case. I'm going to read that again. The white man offered my brother's baby mother a large lump sum to settle the case, to drop the charges of my brother's death. And with Charles' baby to still care for, I understand why a mother would sacrifice justice for an easier financial load. Okay, I got to stop on that part right there. I like to understand more of what she means as far as how the white man can offer a baby mother money. A baby mother is not a relative. I don't even think that was his wife. Was it his wife? That's what I want to know. How can a white man offer her money to drop a case? I don't understand that part right there. I really want to know how that's possible. I also want to know if the baby mother is white. Nothing to do with the value of your brother's life, but I want to know if she's white also. I'd like to know more about that. If anybody knows about that, or if you know this young lady, get in the comments. What does she mean when the white man offered his baby mother money to drop a case? What does that mean? Okay, now I'm reading. I was too young to have a say, let alone be involved. I know deeply that my mother, rest her soul, would have fought for justice. So you see, I know firsthandly that a white man with money will pay anything to cover up their wrongdoings. And it's too easy in America. The white is right types are still rampant. They just conceal themselves among us instead of wearing white cloaks to stand out like a sore thumb. The common denominator between my brother Charles' story and Nolan's are clear. She's talking about Nolan Wells. But Nolan and Charles were surrounded with people who didn't fully understand them. Okay, now I'm breaking in again. I have to fix that part. Just to make it clear. And if you don't get it now, you'll get it later on. For safety purposes, I got to clear that up. But Nolan and Charles were surrounded with people who didn't fully understand them. I don't know about the white people, but I know that her brother, Charles, and Nolan were surrounded by people who they didn't understand, okay? That's the difference here. We have to know them. If you're going to be around them, if you're going to do business with them, if you're going to interact with them, if you're going to go to sleep around them, play sports, go to school, whatever, you have to understand them. So her brother and Nolan Wells, they were surrounded by people who they didn't understand, which is much more dangerous. If you understand them, you're in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? You could protect yourself more. But I get her point. But I just had to clear that part up right there, okay? And people from there, she continues to write. She gets into, various black people that we covered on this channel. Everyone that she mentioned, Nolan Wells, Juliana, and Zita in North Carolina. She was found in a tree recently. Kyla Huff in Missouri, the biracial girl who they brutalized, Daniel Irving, and more, okay? So people, this is a young lady airing out her frustrations. She gets to the point, she's at the point where she knows that this is a problem. She's on the right track, okay? I read her entire work, I just didn't read it, I just didn't read it here, but I read it, and I know for a fact that she's on the right track, and I think she writes well, she's doing a good job, and if she keeps searching and keeps learning, the way she views these things, they'll change because she's young and she's putting her work in, so check her work out. But at the point she is right now, if she keeps looking into this stuff in 3 years, the way she views it will change. It's not like she's going to start loving white people all of a sudden and say, oh no, all this stuff wasn't true and I don't see color. No, it's going to get gloomier for her. Okay, it's going to get gloomier for her. But I'm going to put the link in the pinned comment for you to go check out her work on Substack. You can read her work in this right here, what I read. I read part of it, but you can read the whole thing. The story with her brother and what happened to her family is all real. These lynches that go on, we don't even hear about half of them. A black person walking down the street somewhere trying to get from A to B, they don't have a family, or the people in that family may not even exist. They may be slow. The people in their family may believe everything white people tell them. Boom, they get lynched. You don't hear these stories, man. We don't even hear half the stories, But I don't believe that a young black man goes to college to put himself in a tree. And as usual, case closed. The white roommates, they went on with their lives. Like she said, they were probably into some things that they shouldn't have been into. But here's my thing. White people will never change. Anything that's bad only gets worse with time. This is why black people, we have to put more focus into thinking, preparation, and proactive safety to protect us from racial terrorism, as opposed to online outrage and hashtags and yelling for help and justice and Ben Crump. Nobody is helping us. Ben Crump is not telling black people how to prepare and be proactive. He probably doesn't even know himself. Ben Crump comes in when it's all over. You ain't getting your peoples back. It's a wrap. That's all entertainment for people on social media that don't even really care that much. They scared too, or they just confused, or it's just all social media entertainment for them. Unfortunately, a lot of black people like that. You know what I mean? They look at these stories, they don't even connect to them. For them, it's like watching a horror movie that they could never be part of. Ben Crump comes in when it's all over. He does not care like that, yo. And it's kind of spooky when you have to keep seeing black people mentioning, and I'm not talking about this young lady right here who wrote this, okay? I've been saying this before. So the young lady who wrote this, if you do hear this, don't think I'm talking about you or what you wrote. What you wrote was good. I've been saying this long before I seen anything you ever did, okay? But it's kind of spooky when you have black people In 2026, when something happens, they still screaming Ben Crump, NAACP, Al Sharpton. That goes to show you a lot right there. These are people who come in when it's all over. They do not care. They're not going to help you. You know what I mean? You got to help yourself. Now, I know anything is possible. Stuff is going to happen. Some things we can't prevent. But if you look at a lot of these stories that we see in the public that hits to, black media or social media, when you look at the whole story, you're like, man, why did they do this? Why did they put themselves in that situation? A lot of this stuff, a lot of these stories, we just go walk up to these white people and hand them a noose, for real. So that's something that we gotta work on. You gotta be more proactive. Gotta start thinking different. Gotta understand race. Gotta know that these guys like Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, that's all a joke, man. That's not real. Real is when your peoples is somewhere hanging from something. You know what I mean? But anyway, people, get in the comments. Let me know what you think or know about this. This has probably happened to somebody in your family as well. Link in the description to my masterpiece, The N-Word is No Secret in the Service. Also, link to the email list just in case YouTube start doing their thing. Go ahead and holler at that. Easy.